All right, guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you probably know where I'm coming from when I make this video, but I have a lot of new people that come to the videos and they make comments, and so I want to clear up a couple of things real quickly here for you. 3 reasons why I do buy silver and or gold. So a lot of times you look through some of my videos, especially in the past year and a half, 2 years, and some people have said, well, geez, you hate silver. You bash it in every single video. It's negative all the time. You have nothing good to say about it. And pretty much that's kind of what they know me for. However, those of you that have been around here for a lot longer recognize that that's not where my position is. I'm very big on having a strategy to build a full portfolio. I use that word all the time. And the idea behind it is to have all of your buckets taken care of. If I focus on a specific bucket for a period of time, like, you know, buying a certain stock or talking about getting out of debt or talking about maybe even an index fund or whatever it might be, or oil or something like that, that doesn't mean that I'm not taking care of the other buckets. I am taking care of the other buckets at the right time, and I make those videos that are appropriate for what I feel like I'm doing at that time. So I'm going to give you 3 reasons. 3 reasons for me why I think silver is a good asset to own. I'm not saying right now at this specific price because it depends on when you watch this video. If this video is today, you know, and silver is that $14 to $15 range, then that might be good for you. Personally, that's not good for me. But you might watch this in 2 years when silver is $7 or $9 or $28. We don't know. Might have a completely different scenario at that time. But I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I do like silver overall. One is I do like the collectability. A lot of you out there know that I'm a collector of silver coins and a little bit of bars, and I appreciate that. I actually enjoy it. It's something I enjoy. I also recognize that although there is some investment piece of that, I don't use my collection as a way for a retirement fund or to, in the future, think it will be worth exponentially more. I do hope to gain some from it, but that's not my ultimate reasoning for the amount that I collect. Okay, that's number 1. Really simple. You could collect anything you want. I think there's more value in silver and or gold for that. Has a little bit more of the upside potential. That's just how I feel. Number two, as an asset class. So number 2 as an asset class, when silver is low, and obviously commodities are much more sought after, whether it's the supply demand, and you have countries like China exploding or emerging markets around the world exploding and needing more silver to manufacture goods, I'm a huge proponent of buying silver for that. It's actually, in my opinion, one of the best because of its liquidity and, of course, its industrial uses. So when the time is right, as an asset class for industrial uses, I'm a huge proponent of silver. I don't think right now is the time for that. That's why many of my videos have said, I don't think right now is a good time for silver. You got to be careful of what you hear about. You got to be careful about the articles you read. You got to be careful of the blogs and the videos and all that stuff. But that doesn't mean that I have something against silver. In that respect, I see silver the same as corn or soybeans or copper or anything else because it has industrial uses. In this case, it's manufacturing. It's different than soybeans or coffee or something like that. It's used for manufacturing mainly. And for that, I think it's fantastic as an industrial asset class when the time is right. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, as a hedge against economic crisis. Some people would say it holds value. Now, there's a lot of catchphrases, and I'm going to be careful about saying these catchphrases. I'm going to clarify what I'm saying so there's no miscommunication. I believe that silver has the potential to be used during economic crisis. There's other things to be used during that period of time. I've said it in other videos. I'm a huge proponent of having currency like cash on hand because any type of economic crisis, I believe, will still contain the need for having in here US dollars. Even though a lot of people think the US dollar is going away, I still think whatever the currency of your local market is, you have to consider having that for a period of time, especially if there's a central bank that can actually create that particular currency. Talking about the US dollar, I still think having US dollars available is vital. But that doesn't mean that U.S. silver or silver in general is not a good choice. And I still think, although we use terms like insurance policy and a hedge, all that, it's not technically an insurance policy. All right, legally it's not, technically it's not. Now, off the record of technicality, when an economic crisis happens, all bets are off. I don't believe that silver will necessarily be the strongest commodity to have, and there is an argument to say that if there's an economic crisis, silver will dive with the economic crisis. However, silver has been seen historically as a currency in some cases for economic crisis. What does that mean to me? That means it's possible, it's a potential, and so I keep it a small percentage of my portfolio just in case it happens to be the currency of the next crisis. Do I think it'll long-term be? Do I think we'll be back to some kind of silver standard? Absolutely not. But I can't say it's impossible. I also can't say it's impossible for it to be a hedge during certain periods of time. As many of you have seen in my videos, it's, in my opinion, not a great hedge against inflation because of the volatility. Sometimes it's a good hedge, sometimes it's not a good hedge. So because of that, I don't pick it for that reason. However, in an economic crisis, and I don't think we're heading for a collapse anytime soon, but there's enough question globally what happens when all of the central banks are so interconnected. What happens when things finally fall apart and unravel? Unfortunately, we don't know. That unknown leads me to think it's still a viable option to have silver in your portfolio. Now, some of you are going to ask me, but how much? In my opinion, again, I believe it's 5 to 10% for precious metals. Some of you will say I'm crazy. You need 20, 30, 40, 50%. And some of you think every single dollar should be turned in. Every single fiat dollar should be turned in for a precious metal. I don't agree. It doesn't matter if I agree. I still believe that you should have some precious metals in your portfolio, be it silver, gold, or both, for uncertainty. That's how I feel. So for those of you that think I'm not a supporter of precious metals, hopefully you get that I am. But I'm still a supporter at the right prices as an asset class. Obviously, collectability is completely subjective, and I think a portfolio percentage that's appropriate, depending on what fits in your particular portfolio, you can argue the costs because you're using it, quote, as your, I don't know, economic insurance policy. Okay, so it's an unknown. There's too many variables, which is also why a lot of people won't touch it. In my opinion, I still think as a small percentage, it's a good bet to put on somewhere in the mix of the buckets that you have. All right, guys, those are my 3 reasons. I know some of you have many more reasons, but those are the 3 that I believe are solid for me. All right, guys, go create a great day.